Hello, everyone. This is Josh Vision, and I'm here to give you my Euphoria Season 1, Episode 1 review. So, basically, we meet the character of Rue, and she's 17 years old, and basically, she's fresh off a stint in the alcoholic rehab, program. We meet her little sister and her mother. And basically, she's 17 years old, 18 years old. There's like a week left in the summer, and she basically makes it clear to the audience that she has no intention of staying sober quite so ever. So in this episode, we meet plenty of other characters. We meet the character of Fez, who seems to be her best male friend. We also meet, I believe, Fez's little brother, who's a known drug dealer who supplies Rue with a few strong pulling drugs, fresh off her stint in the alcoholic rehab, program. We meet Rue's sister, but we don't really get that much information, about her. We did meet early in the episode Rue's parents, both her mother and her father, but we find out later in the episode that her father actually died from cancer, and that's why her mom is like by herself and like basically raising two teenage daughters. Also in this episode, we meet the character of Nick, who's a real jerk and an a-hole, and we also meet Nick's best friend McKay, who seems to be the complete polar opposite of Nick. We also meet Nick's ex-girlfriend Maddie and her two friends. We also meet McKay's current girlfriend, Casey, who has a connection to Rue because I believe Casey is the younger sister, I believe, of Rue's best female friend at this point in the series, Alexis. But I believe Rue says that her and Alexis are basically they're best friends because they know each other since preschool. But she feels though they have gone wide, they've gone wider, like apart, whatever the distance between them ever since since the beginning of high school or like middle school or something along them lines. But there is definitely a divide between the two, and apparently as well between Rue and her mother. And from what we find on this episode is that Rue has not only OCD, but she also has really bad panic attacks and anxiety. And sometimes she just wish like she just wants her mind to like slow down, just stop with all the constant thoughts and the anxiety, the fears, always trying to put on a show for people and all this stuff. So I believe she mentioned one time that when she was 11, she had Valium for the first time, and she was so happy when she was on the Valium because it made all like the anxiety and everything stop. Besides the character of Rue, we meet the character of Jules, and Jules comes from the city, but she moves to the suburbs, mainly due to her parents' divorce and surprisingly her father, which Rue mentions during her narration of the episode that the father actually won custody of the child, which is surprising because usually the mother wins custody of the child. So she kind of made a joke about how some effed up crap must have really happened for the dad, to win full custody, of Jules. So in the episode, I believe Jules meets this random guy who she met online. I think the dude was not what she expected. Obviously, I think she expected to be a little bit younger, but this dude was kind of older, giving her wine, get really creepy vibes. And I believe they had sex. After they had sex, Jules was able to kind of leave, and she headed towards the party, which she didn't want to go to, if I remember correctly. I believe she told one of Maddie's friends, whose name I'm completely blanking on right now, but the girl with the glasses, that she was actually gonna go with her to McKay's party, but she decided not to go, and that was mainly due to the fact that she had plans with that older gentleman, but she made plans either way. So the whole thing with this party is the fact that I believe that Nick reveals to McKay all the videos and pics that Cassie has had, or was found, through her phone or something, like some type of hacking. And I believe Cassie is described by Rue as actually being a really good person. And McKay, I believe, is also like dating her at this point. So McKay's not really feeling it. There's this scene in which McKay and her are having sex, and he chokes her, like really choking her, and she was really offended by that, saying, "I never asked you to do that." And I believe Rue in the narration of the episode says that so many people watch porn, so they think like when they have sex with people that women like getting choked during sex, like the first get up basically. And she was like, "That's absolute bullcrap." So the guy apologized to her, and they make up and they continue, having sex. So Rue had this really interesting conversation, with Fez about what I said earlier in regards to how the drugs help her feel better, even though Fez has said that, listen, I was really concerned about you when you went off to the alcoholic, rehab and the drug rehab earlier this summer. I like you, and I feel as though, the drugs ain't going to help you at all. And basically, Rue heard what he said, but she was still dead set on taking the drugs because it makes her feel, alive, and it also kind of makes her like it stops all the pressure and all that stuff. So we have this interesting scene in the kitchen. So Nick, after seeing his ex girlfriend Maddie basically hooking up with some dude from the party, and they're basically having sex in the pool. He's pissed off, and Jules just makes it into the party. So she's just getting some vodka and all that stuff, drinking it. And Nick decides to throw a temper tantrum at Jules, and he kind of threatens to basically abuse her in front of everybody and asking who the freak she is. To the point that Jules grabs a knife and scares everybody because she threatens to really stab this dude up and carve him up like a Thanksgiving turkey, actually. I would say ham, but whatever. Carving either way. Carving some meat up. So, at one point, I believe she cuts herself and scares everybody, especially Nick, calling her a freaking psychopath. And she leaves, and I believe Rue leaves along with her. So they sneak back into her place, and Rue kind of bandages up her wound. So another thing that happened in this episode before I close, you guys, because remember, like I'm only remembering the main parts of the episode. I'm not gonna get everything because there was so much that happened. But I do believe one of Maddie's friends, who actually was a friend of Jules, because they went to the same. I believe they both went to summer school. But she actually lost her virginity to some college guy. And I believe that her main reason for doing that was because that her friends, not just Maddie, but the other chick whose name I'm completely blanking on, they're known for having sex and all that stuff. And I think she wanted an experience. She didn't want to basically head into junior or senior year as a virgin and all that stuff. So she basically not only gave this dude a blowjob after he urged her to do it, and the other two black twins in the room were watching, which was kind of creepy in my opinion. But she also lost her virginity. So that was a big thing in this episode. Besides that, you guys, that's all I really have, that I can remember. If I miss anything, write your comments down below. And I promise you guys that the next episode, I'm going to remember a lot more. I swear to you. Thank you guys for watching. Adios.